FloTrack here at the Suunto booth at the running event here in Austin, Texas. I'm here with Head of Sales, Dan Shore. And Dan, my goodness, TRE just kicked off. I know we're excited to be here, and you guys have some new products here to show, I believe.
We do, yeah, and I mean, this is always such a great week. Love kicking off the show with you guys. So yeah, we've got a mix of products and even some kind of software. So, you know, we're known for the hardware, GPS watches, and more recently our bone conduction headsets. But we'll also talk a little bit about ZoneSense, which is really just a new way to guide people's training. So it's all about the hardware and the software this year.
All right, so where should we begin? Like, where should we start in this this breakdown?
Yeah, you know what? Let's start with the watch that we launched yesterday. So we have a number of athletes that we collaborate with, or that are ambassadors for the Suunto brand. Arguably none bigger than Courtney Dauwalter. Courtney has, well, it feels like she's won everything. Maybe she has, but I mean, I'd say the biggest thing was last summer, in consecutive months, she won Western States 100, she won the Hard Rock 100, and then decided, hey, let's go for it, and added in UTMB, which, you know, a little plug, Suunto is also a global technical partner of UTMB. So she did a, you know, I guess a triple header that's never been done. I don't even know if it was attempted. So Courtney, arguably our strongest athlete on the roster, and so we have come out with the Courtney Dauwalter edition of the Suunto Race S Titanium. This launched yesterday. This is our first true, I'd say, like athlete product collab. Mm-hmm. What's really cool about this, besides just an awesome band to begin with.
I love that color, yeah. Like, glad you called that out there.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a design element that came from Courtney. I mean, Courtney worked with our designers going back maybe a year almost to say, hey, if I'm gonna do a product with Suunto, it needs to be something that I would wear, that the people that look up to me, that I influence, like that they can wear, and really represents, you know, her as an athlete. So she's big on color. If you follow her, you know that she loves a splash of color. So she selected these colors, right? But what's really cool about this is actually glow in the dark. And we can't see it here, but if there's a chance to cut away at some point on one of our banners, you can actually see that it glows in the dark. It's like a green, and then you can see in her handwriting it says believe. And believe is one of her mantras. She's got several mantras that she talks about that, you know, when you're out running 100 miles or even 200 plus miles in some cases for her, you need something to get you through the pain cave, the hard points, and believe is one of those just simple reminders. So that's available now, and something that, is like I said, our first, you know, true product collaboration with an athlete, and we're really excited about it.
It's so cool because it feels like there's just so many unique aspects here. Like, it truly feels like she, you know, like you said, had some say in that design there. And then I think I don't know if I've ever seen a glow-in-the-dark watch band before. I haven't. I mean, I would love that, especially, you know, running it in the morning or at night. Like, you know, if you're out on the trail, you can kind of be seen.
Yes, and you know what? That's a good segue. Let's talk about being seen. And of course, I have a different model here, but I don't know if the camera's able to pan over to our other model, but we've gotten into bone conduction headsets within, well, about this time last year we introduced them. And what we have sitting here is the Suunto Sonic, and like your typical bone conduction, it leaves your ears wide open so that we could have a conversation now, but I can listen to music, podcast, maybe a Flow Sports video that I've got loaded onto my phone, right? But really the big thing is it's about safety, it's about enjoying your activity, whether it's running on the roads, trails, cycling, whatever it may be. But you know, the Sonic is our entry point. It's a $99 price point, which is just like a great price point. There's really nothing on the market at that price with this level of quality. But we also offer a product that's a step up from this called the Wing that also includes some lights on it. So it has LED lights. You can set them up in our app to do, you know, strobe or solid. So it's It's not necessarily the only visibility you should have when you're out there at night or in the morning, but it adds to that multiple points of visibility, 360 visibility that, you know, some brands that specialize in visibility might preach. So yeah, so it was a good segue over to our headphones, intended or not. But
so we got the new watch, we have, you know, the bone conduction headphones. What is, now you put the tech together, but there's also the data and some of that analysis behind it. Talk to me about Suunto ZoneSense.
Yeah, so ZoneSense, I mean, you can look up and I'm not joking, they're called lectures, and they're called lectures for a reason on YouTube, but I'm gonna give you kind of the simple pitch here. So ZoneSense is, in essence, it's a new way to train. So if you're a runner, you're familiar likely with heart rate zones and things like that. Cyclists are familiar with power zones, and ultimately, you know, heart rate zones tend to be based around estimates, some good, some not as good, right? Power zones tend to be based on like an FTP test, but over time, you might be improving or not in some cases. You may have indicators. So ZoneSense was designed in collaboration with a university in Finland in the Helsinki area where Suunto is based. And what ZoneSense does is it essentially mimics a lab-based or a blood-based lactate test, which is either going to be painful, annoying, or expensive. But even for those that afford it or it's a regular part of their training, again, it's only as good as the day that you do the test. So what ZoneSense does, and you do need to use a chest strap, but it takes the peak-to-peak differences or essentially heart rate variability, and it is able to mimic essentially lactate testing within a very small margin of error. And it divides it into a very easy to digest 3 zones: aerobic, anaerobic, or VO2 max. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's how we train. So, you know, it's not 5 zones, not 7 zones, it's really 3 zones, and right on your watch, it's gonna tell you what zone you're in. It takes 10 minutes, it kind of acclimates to that day, and then, you know, I know that, hey, this pace maybe normally is an aerobic pace for me, but, you know, maybe you're out at a party at the running event, and you're a little tired, and so you're in, you know, you're in your yellow zone. You're a little bit more anaerobic, even though this pace or this heart rate is usually very much an aerobic pace. Or hopefully the other way around, right? You're feeling really good, and you know what might have been VO2 one day is now more of an anaerobic effort, and you can push that much harder for your workout. So really cool. It can get super, super technical for those that want to, but at its base level, it's a new way to train, an easier and more accurate way, and more approachable way for the average, you know, runner.
And it's interesting that, you know, it kind of mimics that blood lactate test, because I feel like, you know, as we're covering things here with FloTrack, like we're going to see these pros, these college teams, and like it's all the rage now, I feel like now.
Absolutely.
And this way you don't even have to prick your finger, you just, no blood involved, you just, you know, put on the chest strap and you get the data.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that my wife is a hematologist, like blood's not something I really enjoy. So I can get really good data, and I'm well past the point where like I would have ever really needed that information. But even as more of a casual runner now, weekend warrior, whatever we want to call it, it's still really great data, and it can guide my training. So I know, like, I maybe had overcompensated over the years to start running a little bit easier and taking a look, okay, am I green, am I yellow? I just, you know, try to stay out of the red as much as possible, right? But, you know, floating between green and yellow on an average run, that's good for me, and I can get that guide, and so can any user. So this is an exclusive to Suunto. We in partnership with this university, and it's, you know, a really great piece of tech that separates us from, you know, the other devices that are out there.
Well, Dan, it was great to hear about all these products. Again, the new watch, the headphones, the tech. I mean, Suunto's doing it all, it seems like. So,
you know, it's been a lot of fun since last year's running event. You know, a number of new products, new innovations, and there's more to come as we, you know, continue this. I call it relaunch or rebuild in North America for Suunto. 88-year-old brand. But it's almost like a little bit of a startup feel in some cases too, with a lot of new, and more new to come.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much, and be sure to check out some of these products here from Suunto.
Thank you.